BookTube, it's Missy, and today I'm here to share with you guys my most anticipated reads for 2020, but this is the August through December YA part 1. I know I did 2 videos for my YA books from January through July. There was 2 parts. I think I have a lot of YA books that I'm going to share with you guys. And then of course I have my adult books that I will share with you guys in the next couple of weeks. But I'm going to start with the YA first because that's what's on my list first. And yeah, all of these books sound super interesting. I am currently in the middle of the screen, so I'm going to step over here a little bit so that way you can see all of the books lovely right here. Yes, so these are all again from August through December of 2020, and then hopefully in 2021 I'm on the right track where I don't do this every 6 months. I do it every month like I used to do. Those ones are better. I will be better in 2021. We all hate 2020. We hate it. And that's a harsh word, but we're going to continue to hate it until it's over. All right. The first one I want to talk about is The Silvered Serpents. Now this is from Roshani Chokshi? This girl right here. And this is book 2 to this book right here. This is the sequel to The Gilded Wolves. Now, I haven't read that book yet. Coraline, I really need you to, why is your head... Sometimes these pop figures, their heads are so darn heavy, they don't stay. Well, she's going to have to go down here. I'm going to put back my clown because at least he's got, feet that are thick that will allow him to stand upright. Okay, so anyways, The Silvered Serpents is book 2. And if I have the first book, I want the second book, even though I haven't read the first book, Story of My Life. But yeah, I don't know anything about that. I didn't write anything down because I was like, oh, it's just the sequel, and if I have the first one, I want the second one. But it did sound really good, and I hope it still sounds good. If you are a collector of books like myself, you tend to buy books that are in the genre that you like, or the themes that you like, or you'll have like a buzzword, whether it's haunted houses like myself, or retellings of fairy tales, or something like a dark fairy tale. Those are all my buzzwords. Those are all the themes that I like. And so I'm pretty sure that that's what this book is about. And that's why I put it on my most anticipated reads list. And that's why I own it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading the first one and the second one. The next one I want to talk about is called The Cousins. Again, I'm going to try to not stand in the middle so you have lots of room to see the book. The Cousins is by Karen McManus. She's also the one that wrote One of Us, I believe. This is about disinherited parents, a mysterious rich grandmother, and cousins that aren't close are invited to an island resort for the summer. It kind of reminds me of a whole bunch of books that I've read. There's one that I read that was called The Inherit? Just Inherit, maybe? Or The Inheritance? I'll put the cover right here. And this is about a bunch of cousins that went on a scavenger hunt. And whoever reached the end, the grandma was going to give her entire fortune to that particular grandchild. I really like, that's like a buzzword that I do like. Not heists or anything, but like scavenger hunts, or like families fighting over money and or treasure or something. So in Cousins, I'm assuming that's the case. All the parents really want the grandma's money. They send all of their kids to this island. I don't know what happens when they get there, but I'm excited to find out. The next book I wanted to read is called Where Dreams Descend. dreams. This is another buzzword of mine. This is by Janella Angeles or Angel? Angelus? Angeles? This is about magicians face off while a darkness awaits. Kingdom of Cards duology written by a Filipino author. If you guys haven't heard me say it before, I am Filipino and you can't tell, but I am Filipino. As proof, here's my grandpa. If he doesn't look Filipino, this is right before he passed away. I don't know what does, okay? This is when he wasn't getting much sun. This is when he had lots of sun. I'm from Hawaii, so yeah. There's my grandpa. His birthday was this month. I don't know how old he would have been. He was old when he passed away. He was like in his early 80s. So he had a good life. Yes, this is by a Filipino author. I gotta represent my ethnicity here. And yeah, magicians face off while a darkness awaits. I want to read that. And I think I liked this cover so much because it had cards on it. And cards remind me of Alice in Wonderland or magicians, and I like both. So there's that. All right, the next one is called Star Daughter. I'm sure you guys have all seen this cover before. This is by Shveta. I'm butchering that. I know I'm butchering that. And then her last name is Thakrar, maybe? I don't know. This is, now, I am obsessed with the book Stardust by Neil Gaiman, but this is Stardust meets Hindu mythology. And I also am obsessed with Hindu mythology. I'm obsessed with the show Ancient Aliens, and they're always talking about Hindu mythology. Yeah. You guys know so much about me already. I get weirder and weirder, I'm sure. You're like, wow, she likes aliens, she likes dark fairy tales, she's obsessed with ghosts and vampires, she wants to move into a haunted house. Like, what else can be weird about Missy? So yeah, it says Shitl, I think that's her first name, Shital, puts her human father in the hospital on accident. The only person that can help heal him has to be a full star like her mother. Okay, so her mother is a star. That's why she's called Star Daughter. All right, we're good. The next book on my list is it Lyrics and Curses by Candace Robinson? I'm friends with this lady, and she writes books. It's funny when somebody requests to be my friend on Goodreads, because sometimes they're authors, and I'm like, thanks. You're awesome. I think this is a YA book. She did come out with Dearest Clementine, Dark Romantic Monstrous Tales, which I did purchase on my Kindle for like $1.99. I pre-ordered it, and but it's an adult. So I have a whole bunch of adults of hers that I'm not going to talk about in this video. Well, I kind of talked about it, but I'm not going to go over the other ones in this video. But I think Lyrics and Curses is a YA. And it says it's like Stranger Things meets Pretty in Pink. Now, I love most of all 80s movies. I've seen Pretty in Pink, and don't shoot me, but I have not yet watched Stranger Things, which is right up my alley because it's creepy, it's weird and strange, it's got 80s stuff in it. I mean, that's all me, right? But I haven't seen it yet. So this is two people who love music and might have a crush are transported into a mirror world. They have to get back or they're going to lose their souls. So, a mirror world kind of like through the looking glass. Again, just love. I love, love, love. Okay, next we have, that one doesn't come out until 2021. Next we have Vampires Never Get Old, Tales with Fresh Bite. This is an anthology of 11 vampire stories. You can never have too many vampire stories. They're all the same. They're immortals. They bite you. They drink your blood. But when Interview with a Vampire came out, I was in middle school. And I went and saw it with my auntie, Rana, which is my dad's sister. And she is obsessed with Tom Cruise, especially when we were younger. She's like 10 years older than me, so we're very close in age, so we used to like bicker a lot growing up, but she's great. I love my auntie, and so she took me to see Interview with the Vampire because I love Brad Pitt, she loved Tom Cruise. It was the perfect match. And then I begged my dad to take me, so I got to see it twice. And every night I was like, if a vampire could just come and bite my neck. My like little 13-year-old self was like, I want to be a vampire so bad. It would hurt. The bite would absolutely hurt, and I would die, and my family would miss me. But oh my God, I would get to see it at night, and I would be with Brad Pitt, and I would be a vampire forever. And I don't mind drinking blood because I will be alive forever. I love life. I love living, and I have so many books that I need to read that if I could live forever, I absolutely would, in a heartbeat. If someone said, "Would you take this pill? All of your family members are going to die, your husband, your children, everybody. Would you take it anyway?" Yes, I would. I would say, I love you, love, love, up until they die, and then I'm free to read all the books I ever wanted. I can live in a bathtub and read all day. I don't know why I said bathtub. Bathtubs are kind of like, you know, romantic if it's claw-footed. I'm, tangent. Okay. Next! Oh, I didn't even say who this is from. This is the cover. I will put the author down here. I don't know who, it's an anthology, so there's many people, but I don't know any of the people. But I can at least put who edited this. You can find it if you're interested. All right, the next one is called Instant Karma, and this is by Marissa Meyer. She's the one who wrote Cinder, the sci-fi fairy tale retelling. I really liked it. I read Cinder, I read Scarlet, I read the Rapunzel one. What was that called? Cinder, Scarlet. I don't know what the last one is. I know Winter is the fourth one. I haven't gotten to Winter yet. Story of my life. I always start series and I never finish them. I read the first or second or third, and then I get to the fourth and I say, no, I don't want this world to end, so I'm not going to read it won't end if I don't read the last one. So I haven't. But anyways, this one is a contemporary romance, which I never read contemporary romances because I hate this genre, but I like Karma and I like Marissa Meyer, so I'm excited for this one. I hope it's good. We'll see. Okay, the next book on my list is called Lobizona, and this has also been around a lot. I love, love, love this cover. This is by Romina Garber, and this is an Argentinian immigrant hiding in Miami from her father's crime family. She is undocumented. She finds out about a folklore legend about seventh daughter, who's a bruja, which is a witch, and the seventh son, which is Lobizon, which is a werewolf. So it's about witches and werewolves, and it's set in Miami. And my friend, Juan Carlos Bordo. I love saying his name, Juan Carlos. It's so, just comes out of your mouth. It's so musical. Juan Carlos. His parents are from Peru. I don't think I know anybody from Argentina. If you are from Argentina and you follow me, say hi to me down below. Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this book. One, I like reading about other cultures. Two, I like Miami, and I have never been there, but I have friends in Florida. And three, it's witches and werewolves. So yeah, the cover is gorgeous too. That's always a plus. All right, the next one I'm interested in is called Villains Rise. This is by Rebecca Schaeffer. This is the third book in the Market of Monsters series. So the first book is called Not Even These Bones, which is a girl who sells magical body parts on the black market. Now, I did talk about this book, I'm pretty sure, Not Even These Bones. I'm pretty dang sure I talked about this book last year or the year before, but I don't know what happened to the second one. I don't know what the second book is, but When Villains Rise is the third book, and so I'll show all the covers here. I want to read it. All right, the next one is called Horrid. I've been dying to share this book with you guys. It came out in September. It's already out. So many people have already showed this cover. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's all the colors I like. Blue, purple, black, gray. Love. The fact that she's got flowers for her eyeballs. I don't know what. This is a horror mystery, but this is an absolute cover buy. Even if I never read this book and I just had it on my shelf to look at, I would be content, because covers are like art. And if you guys have seen my wall, my horror wall here, it's gorgeous. I love it so much. Book covers are like that too. I would definitely like wallpaper my room with just gorgeous book covers. I wish that was a thing. I know I could just go online and then just print the book covers on paper and then just tape it to my wall, or maybe put it on photo paper and then say frame it and then just have my walls filled with framed things, but I don't know. This is a gorgeous cover and I want this book. All right, the next book on my list is called Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerri Maniscalco. I do own her Escaping from Houdini. I did read her Stalking the Ripper. This is a series. Kingdom of the Wicked, I think, is a completely different series, has nothing to do with these ones. This is a historical fantasy set in Italy, and it's about a witch seeking revenge for her twin sister and a demon prince. Sounds good, sounds good. It's not accurate at all to Italian culture or the time period. That was one of the complaints. I've been filming for 18 minutes and my SD card is full? What in the hell? So my camera said that my SD card was at 000, but it was still filming, but it said 0. And when I checked the footage, all of it was there, even me saying that my camera was dead. I don't know what's going on. My card is not working properly, and so sometimes I have to literally blow into my camcorder. That's how old my thing is. It's like, I feel like I'm blowing into an old Nintendo system. By the way, I'm old enough to have owned that when it first came out. Ooh, look. My eye is getting all red right here in the corner. It doesn't feel itchy, but it looks really red. Concerning. All right. Regardless, let's get back into the video. So I was talking about Kingdom of the Wicked. Like I said at the very end, like an hour ago when okay, it wasn't an hour. Maybe 25 minutes. That's how long it took to upload onto my computer so I could clear the memory card and put it back into the camera. Anywho, what I read from the comments on Goodreads about this book is that it's very inaccurate. But sometimes that's okay, especially in fantasy, because it's like, it's fiction. It doesn't matter. So I'm looking forward to that. I've only read one book by Kerri Maniscalco, but I liked her writing, so I'm assuming I'm going to like this one too. Hopefully. The next book that I wanted to talk about is All Eyes on Her. This is by Lori Elizabeth Flynn. I've never read a book by her. This is about a girl and a boy who walk into the woods and the boy dies. Okay. Is the girl to blame? I don't know. But you know that's my buzzword. My buzzword is going into the woods with someone, coming out, them being dead, and nobody knows what happened. I promise I am not itching my actual eyeball. I'm itching the corner skin. That's itchy. Obviously, if I'm itching it, it's itchy. I think I didn't like... my eyes feel really itchy. I don't know if it's the makeup or because I'm getting tired or what. Okay, the next one is None Shall Sleep, and this is by Ellie Marney. It's a YA Silence of the Lambs. Wow, my eyeball is so itchy. I read the entire Silence of the Lambs series. There's 4 books in it, and it's by something Thomas. Why can't I think of his name? Anyways, if you are familiar with the movie Silence of the Lambs, you know, with Clarice and the screaming lambs, and then there's, you know, the killer guy. What is his name? This is what happens every time I come on screen. Hannibal Lecter. God, I forget everything. His name's Hannibal Lecter. I've read all the books. I really, really like it. This one is supposed to be a YA version. It's about 2 teens who work for the FBI tracking down teen serial killers. Yes, please. I am on a serial killer roll right now. I'm currently watching Mindhunter. I know it's been on for a while, and I'm finally watching it. And let me tell you, not only do I hear it from people, I continuously hear it from my husband, because he told me to watch it last year, maybe at the beginning of this year. I don't know when he told me to. I don't even remember this conversation. You know, when you're married or with someone for a really long time, things that they talk about sometimes go boop, and you don't listen anymore. It's just talk. I didn't hear this part. He said, you're going to really like it because it's got serial killers in it. I said, yada, yada, yada. Who cares? Yada, fine, I'll do it later. I don't watch a lot of Netflix. Not that I don't like TV shows or movies. I would much rather read a book than watch TV, unless it's like super late at night and I can't read because, you know. Anywho, series always make me wary because I don't want to get invested and then not finish it. There's a lot of TV shows that I've watched series, like not series, but seasons, like 3 seasons or something, and either it ends terribly and you're like, I can't believe I wasted my whole time watching this. We all know what we're talking about. Game of Thrones. Or, you know, like House ended stupid. What else ended stupid? Vampire Diaries. I stopped watching that after like 4 seasons. I stopped watching The Magician after 3 seasons. Like, I can't for the life of me continue a series. It's really hard. And so Mindhunter, I'm watching it with someone for not only accountability, it also makes it more fun. And this is all about serial killers. So the book that I'm talking about, Rant done. None Shall Sleep. Way looking forward to this book. Really, really want this book. The next one is called The Left-Handed Booksellers of London. This is by Garth Nix. He is a children's writer, I think. I don't know how many YA books he has. I don't know if he writes adult fiction. My son owns the entire Keys to the Kingdom series, and they're each book is a day, so it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, yada yada yada. He absolutely loved that series. He read them, he devoured them when he was like in 5th grade, read all of the books. And so I thought I would give this one a go because it's a fantasy about books. It's a magical fighting booksellers. I like books. I like booksellers. Sounds interesting. So I want to read it. The next one is called Some Kind of Animal. This is by Maria Romasco-Moore. This is a mystery thriller with kind of a low rating because it's slow and repetitious, but it's about the Appalachian Mountains, and it's for fans of Wilder Girls and Sadie. And Sadie's written by Courtney Summers. I own Sadie. I don't own Wilder Girls. I do want to read it though. I don't mind slow and repetitious as long as there is some thrill aspect. So we'll see. Some Kind of Animal. And I like anything that happens in the Appalachian Mountains. I don't know if it's I know it's real. I know there's like town folk. What am I trying to say? I know there's mountain people. That sounds really mean, but there's like people that live in the Appalachian Mountains in these rickety houses. I don't know what they do out there. They're just living their best life. But sometimes when you watch like movies, these mountain people are kind of scary. And so I think of the Appalachian Mountain people like the Hills Have Eyes people, like they're cannibals. And I'm sure that is not nice to those that live in the mountains and don't kill people. But all people can kill people, right? And so the Appalachian Mountains are kind of creepy to me. So I want to read it. The next one is called The Truth Project, and this is by Dante Medema, and it's written all in texts, poems, and emails, which I love a good book that has a different medium, that it's not just the typical, you know, paragraphs that you are reading. It's got different forms in it, so that way it feels like it's more of an adventure to read. I like being interactive with my reading. This is about Cordelia, and she learns that her DNA doesn't match what her family has been telling her. This is a contemporary, and right now the whole DNA thing, the Me23 or whatever it's called, the DNA thing is like super popular. People spit in a tube and they find out, you know, where their bloodline is from, like where their ancestors are from. And so this one, The Truth Project, is interesting. It's weird to have DNA that doesn't match. And I was watching the rest of Unsolved Mysteries. I am caught up with that. So I used to watch that show when I was really little, and then they brought it back in 2020. So they have 2 seasons out right now. But there was a whole one on babies that are stolen when they're small, like 1 to 2 years old, from people who can't have kids. And then they raise the kid like it's their own. And then when the kid grows up and is an adult and then realizes that they were kidnapped, essentially, like stolen. I'm wondering if this girl Cordelia was stolen when she was little, why her DNA doesn't match. So looking forward to that one. And next we have 5 Total Strangers. This is by Natalie D. Richards. It's about a snowstorm, 5 strangers in a car, and a deadly disaster. I love books that take place where it's like a survival kind of thing. If it's in the mountains, the woods, a blizzard, a mall, sometimes it's zombies, sometimes it's, you know, like Mist. Oh, I tell you what, that movie, The Mist, the newer one, if you haven't seen that movie, where the man does something at the end in a car and then the military come like not even 5 minutes later. I was going to say that's my biggest fear. That would never happen. I would never kill myself or my family in order to save ourselves from being eaten by monsters. I would fight to the death. And so, I want to know what happens to these 5 total strangers. Next we have Winter, White, and Wicked. This is by Shannon Ditmore, maybe? It's Mad Max Fury Road meets Frozen. I loved Mad Max Fury Road. I'm obsessed with that movie. It is insane. I love the cinematography. I love that it's like very woman, in the front, you know, she's the one who's driving the tanker, the big truck, and she's like hauling other girls to get them away from the bad guy. But why is it meets Frozen? Fantasy with monster made of body parts. There's a monster made of body parts. I don't know what the Frozen part comes from. Is it because 2 sisters love each other? Or does one have some kind of magical power where she can create winter? Who knows? Sounds interesting. I want to read it. The next one is called Eventide. This is by Sarah Goodman. It's a fantasy horror historical fiction about 2 orphans who are carted. Sometimes I can't read my own handwriting. Carted off by train to Wheeler, a town that just isn't right. I don't know what that means, but I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I like horror, so if I want to know what's going on. I want to know what happens. Okay, the next one I have here is, let's see. Oh, nope. I was going to talk about it, but it doesn't come out yet. I was just told that it's not coming out until 2020. Excuse me, 2021. If you are interested in knowing what the hell I'm talking about, let me quickly show you. I received The Just Show. This is Not the Just Show by Anna Kerri from Quark Books. I requested this because it's about like it's supposed to be funny, and it's a thriller, and it's set on social media, and also about what's it called when reality TV, that's the word. I got an email from Quark saying that that book's actually not coming out until 2021. So yeah, it was supposed to come out this month, but it's not coming out until later. So we're going to skip that one. And we're going to go to Even If We Break. This one is by Maraki Nink. Okay, I can't read that. I'm going to put it here. I don't... Nij Camp. I don't know how you say that. But it's an LGBT horror thriller set in the woods, in a cabin. No one is safe. Cabin in the woods, horror. That's all you had to say. I'm excited. The next one is Nobody Knows But You. This is by Anika. Is it M-R-O-S-E? Rose? That doesn't sound right. Anika Reese. Reese is her last name. It's a mystery thriller about best friends keeping secrets and a murder. There was a murder in, what is it called? It's called The Lying Game by Ruth Ware. That was an amazing book. The twist was, I did not see the twist coming, but then again, I am super gullible when it comes to reading books. I can never figure out who the killer is. But this kind of reminds me of it when it's about like friends and a secret and murder. So I'm looking forward to that one. And then we have We Were Restless Things. This is by Cole Nagamatsu. This is a fantasy mystery thriller or magical realism. About a boy who drowns on dry land in the middle of a forest. And the only person who knows about this hidden lake is Naomi. And she's the only one that can find him. I don't know why this lake is hidden and how she knows about it, but super cool. Can't wait to read that. The next one is called This Is Not a Ghost Story, and this is by Andrea Portes. It's a horror, which is, you know, enough said. If it's a horror, I want to read it. She's house sitting a house that seems to be closing in around her. I read House of Leaves this year. It was freaking amazing. If you haven't picked up that book by Mark D. Danielewski, you have to. It is such an amazing roller coaster of a book. It requires a lot of brain cells. It's like a puzzle riddle mixed up in Pandora's box. It's definitely something that it's like an educated read. Kind of, when I say educated, meaning it's you have to think a lot to keep up with the story. But if you're with the story, it's very engaging and it's so good. And it's so complicated because it's got 3 stories in one. It's 3 stories that are on top of each other. They're piggybacking each other the entire time. And you're like, what the hell's going on? And I read it out loud to my son and he absolutely loved it. And this book right here, with the house closing in around her, makes me think of House of Leaves. It also makes me think of Don Kurtigich's book, where it's in the woods, where two sisters go and they go to their aunt's house and the woods are starting to come closer. They crept in, the house crept in, the forest crept in, the woods crept in something. That's the title. Anywho, I want to read it. The next book is Reckless Afterlife of Harriet Stoker. This is by Lauren James. My buzzword for this book is afterlife. Anything that has to do with the afterlife, I always want to read it. It says, what if death is just the begging? What if death is just the begging? What the hell does that mean? Maybe it's the beginning and I totally wrote the wrong word. Harriet discovers ghosts with powers after she dies. I think Ashley just bought this book. Who bought this book? I want to read this book. Tell me if it's good. Yes. The next one is You Are Never Here. This is by Kathleen Peacock. That's an amazing last name. I love that name. It would make me want to wear green and blue every day. Green, blue, and purple. I want to be a peacock. You know, it stinks that only the males get to be pretty when it comes to the animal kingdom. I don't know why the females always have to look like ugly, brown, muted. We want to be pretty too. Anyways, her name's amazing. It's a mystery thriller, magical realism. It says Kat kissed Riley and destroyed their friendship. Now 5 years later, Riley is missing and she might be the only one who knows why. I want to know why too. Why? Why did you kiss him and what happened after that? Next we have Watch Over Me. This is by Nina LaCour. This is an LGBT paranormal book about a farm isolated with ghosts. Ghosts? Yes, please. I've never read anything by Nina LaCour. She writes contemporary fiction. I hate contemporary YA fiction unless it's got mental health in it. I don't really want to read about romance, and I'm pretty sure Nina LaCour writes romance, but this one is paranormal. I don't know if it's got some kind of a lovey thing in it, but I like ghosts, and so I am looking forward to it. And then we have Aftershocks, and this is by Marissa Reinhardt, I think. This is a survival book. Again, love survival books. It's a contemporary about 2 teens trapped in a laundromat after the big one in LA. I really liked how this sounded. So we have two teens. They don't know each other. They're complete strangers. They're in a laundromat doing laundry. There was a giant earthquake in LA. They are under rubble and they have to cope with each other. Like they're trying to keep each other sane by talking to each other through the rubble, hopefully being able to unite so that way they have someone else to comfort them until they are rescued. And I am looking forward to that. Maybe it ends up being like a little lovey-dovey, but under the circumstances, I could see that. When you are in a situation where there's death on the line or something really tragic happens, you tend to gravitate towards another person, and it might not be like love at first sight, but just the immense emotions flooding into your body causes electricity. You know what I mean? Did you see the movie The Mountain Between Us? Am I saying that title right? It's got what's her face from Titanic, and what's his face? I'll leave the poster for the movie here, but I'm not the audience for this kind of movie, and it was on Netflix, and I watched it, and I cried, and I loved the story, and I loved the love in it, and I can be a sap sometimes. That one was really good, so I'm looking forward to this one. Next book is Cat Off by Adrienne Finlay. This is a sci-fi horror about teens competing on a survival show in the wilderness for $1 million. Again, we have that survival. Will they survive? Is this real? Will someone come back to rescue them? There's another book that I wanted to read that was on my most anticipated reads last year, maybe the year before, about kind of the same thing, where there was kids that were taken and they were put on this island, and when they wake up, they don't know where they're at, but they realize, you know, pretty quickly that they are competing to the death. Whoever is the survivor gets to leave the island, something like that. So I wonder if this is kind of the same thing. I know it says they're competing for $1 million, so I wonder if they decide the $1 million isn't worth it and they're going to help each other out to get off the island, or maybe they go and they find the people that captured them and hurt them or something and then escape. I don't know, but I'm excited to read it. Then we have Link by Link. This one comes out in December, and this is an anthology of haunted holidays by various authors. Haunted holidays, so it's kind of like A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, but many stories. Last page, we have The Girl Who Was Convinced Beyond All Reason That She Could Fly by Sybil Lamb. Her name's Eggs, which I find fascinating, and she's homeless and she can fly. She steals a jacket on the rooftop of a baddie named Robin, who seeks revenge because he has anger management. I don't know. The girl who was convinced beyond all reason that she could fly. It reminds me of The Girl Who Circumnavigated the World in a Ship of Her Own Making by Catherine M. Valente. I love really long, ridiculous titles. I want to know all about Eggs. I mean, what kind of name is that? And then her nemesis is Robin. I mean, come on. Who has anger management? I don't know if this is supposed to be taken seriously or if this is like a humor book, but I'm looking forward to it. The next one is called The Seeking, and this is by Marlena Frank. It's another horror book, and it says face-melting spiders. Face-melting spiders, okay? Aliens protect the town of Kara, where the children of the priests must hide on Hollow Eve or be replaced by monsters. I don't know what any of that means. I got sidetracked on face-melting spiders in Aliens. I want to read it. The next one is called The Bitter Wine Oath, and this is by Hannah West. It's another horror. It's cults. It's about cults. Cult, not baby horses. Cults. C-U-L-T-S. 12 men die every 50 years in Texas. A girl reviewer said it was like Sucker Punch, but with witches. I don't know why I write. Sometimes when I write things, I don't put context in it, and so I read exactly what I wrote, and that doesn't make any sense to you. Someone on Goodreads said that this was like Sucker Punch, but with witches. And I loved the movie Sucker Punch. I know that it's kind of a weird movie and it's super cheesy, and it's about a girl who's in a mental hospital who's forced into like prostitution, but instead of doing that, she dances and then gets men to pay for her to dance. But while she's dancing, she goes into a fantasy world and she's fighting these bad guys with all of the other prostitute mental health patients. And it's so good. It doesn't make any sense, but I love the fight sequences. The parts that seem like it's an anime kind of kick butt movie. I like those things, and I like the music. It's really pretty to watch, even though the backstory is kind of iffy. Yeah, Bitter Wine Oath sounds like a good book if that's Sucker Punch with witches. That sounds cool. 2 more books on my list. One is The Unleashed by Daniel Vega. This one actually came out in July, and I know I'm talking about it in August through December, but this is the only book I haven't talked about in any of my other videos, and I just found it today. It's the sequel to The Haunted by Daniel Vega, and Daniel Vega is the one who wrote what is it called? The Merciless. Excuse me. Yeah, The Merciless. That's the pink book, and it's like an exorcist, YA exorcist book about girls who do an exorcism on another girl that used to be their friend because they believe that she is being possessed by the devil and everything goes bad. It's a really good book. The second one's kind of but it's a 4-part story, and I want to continue reading it. However, I've read a lot of Daniel Vega's books, and she also goes by Danielle Rollins, and she's got other books on that name, so might as well continue to collect her books. So like I said, The Haunted is the first book, The Unleashed is the sequel, and the first one is about a dark family secret and evil lurks in the unlikeliest of places. So I want to read it. Back to the ones that come out, in the later months of the year. The last one I want to talk about is called Meme. This is by Aaron Starmer. There's not a lot of reviews. I think it's like a 3.54 star rating on Goodreads right now, but there's only like 22 reviews for this book, maybe even less. Maybe I'm even thinking about the book before I got to this book. Regardless, it's about 4 friends who kill a guy from their school because he's, a nuisance and he's always doing mean things or bad things. And so they decide, we don't need him anymore. Let's just take him out. We don't have to worry about him. So they kill him. And to keep each other from going to the cops, they have buried his body with their 4 cell phones. The cell phones are wiped clean. However, each phone has a video confession that they killed this boy. And it's all buried with the guy. So that way nobody can decide to go to the police. They have like that, I don't know, like that contract that they aren't going to tell on each other. That sounds like fun. All right. Those were all the rest of the books that I wanted to talk about. And actually, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys learned some new books to check out. If you like the books that I buy and read, then you're going to like these books. I don't put books that I'm not interested in on these lists. They're not like all of the books that are coming out in 2020. On Goodreads, there was 8 pages, so almost like it was like 800 something books that I had to go through, and these were the ones that I found that were the most interesting out of the 800 plus books that were for the YA books. And then I will do an adult version of this video coming soon. I don't think I have enough adult books for the rest of the year, so I'm gonna have to do some more research. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a good rest of your week. Whenever I post this, I don't know what day it's going to be uploaded, but whatever you're doing, I hope you're doing it with love in your heart and you are having a good time. YOLO, right? We only live once and we have to make the most of it. Life is short. I hope you're having a good time. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.